Hello, my fitness followers. Welcome back. Today's episode is another meal prep Sunday. I cooked all morning for the family for the week. So I made a barbecued pulled pork in the crock pot. I made sausage and peppers in the oven. And then I made sweet and sour chicken on top of the stove. So that's what I'm going to show you during today's video. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jill Perry-Eising, and I've lost 125 pounds in the last year and a half. And so I started this channel because I was very inspired by people who I watched on YouTube, and so I'm hoping that I can inspire you in your weight loss journey. Enjoy. Okay, so welcome back to Meal Prep Sunday. So today I'm going to be making pulled pork, barbecued pulled pork in the crock pot, and I'm starting my first dish in the crock pot because it takes the longest. And then I'm going to make a sausage and peppers, which I'll roast in the oven. And then I'll also make sweet and sour chicken, which I'll just cook on top of the stove. So this way I'm using my crock pot, my oven, and my stove. 3 separate ways to cook my stuff, and I don't have to wait for like one dish to be done before I can start the next. So pretty much I can get all 3 dishes going together at the same time. And so these things are going to feed a family of 4. So I'm starting first with my pulled pork. I have a half a pork loin here, boneless, and I'll start with, I'm going to cut some fat off of it. It's about 4.5 pounds, so it'll be probably like 4 pounds once I cut all the fat off. So you figure 4 people to a pound, so this should get like 16 servings because it's 4 pounds, 4 times 4. And then the barbecue sauce comes with 14 servings. So when I figure out my calories for the meal, I'm gonna figure out 1 person's serving of meat to be 4 ounces, so I'll look that up on MyFitnessPal. And then for the barbecue sauce, pretty much if there's about 14 servings in here and I'm expecting 16 servings of meat at 4 ounces a piece, then each person's only going to get 1 serving of barbecue sauce, which is 2 tablespoons, and that's in here 70 calories. So that's what I'll end up putting in MyFitnessPal. I usually put baby carrots in the bottom of the crock pot just to lift the meat off the bottom a little bit, but I don't have any today, so I'm just going to rough chop an onion and put that at the bottom of the crock pot just to get the meat off of the bottom. So let me start by spraying the crock pot. Alright, so let's start with the onion. And I usually keep a paper plate for garbage. I always think when I used to watch Rachel Ray with 30-minute meals, she always had the garbage bowl. So that's pretty much where I get that idea from. But it does work out conveniently, so I don't have to keep walking over to my garbage pail. So this onion has nothing to do with flavoring the dish. Pretty much it's just pork and barbecue sauce. It's just really just to lift the meat off the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to rough chop the onion and put that on the bottom. And now I'm going to cut the fat off of the meat. Okay, now you've seen in other videos, excuse me touching raw meat. You gotta do what you gotta do. Obviously, I've washed my hands ahead of time. Alright, so I'm gonna turn it over to the back. I'll use a combination of the big knife and the little knife for this, but let's see what I can start with. Okay, so I'm almost done cutting all the fat off. This is pretty much just the process that I do. Ugh, excuse me. It's Sunday morning. Kids are still asleep. Gotta start the crock pot meal early because that's gonna go like 8 or 10 hours. I'll cook this on low and slow all day long because then it'll come out nice and tender. You don't have to get every ounce of fat, but I do try to get a lot of it just because I worry about calories. So obviously the less fat there is, the less calories is going to be. This way the meat's nice and lean. Alright, so that looks pretty good. You know, I'm just going to leave these little bits on, and that's not going to hurt anybody. Alright, so this is going right in the crock pot. I'm just going to rinse my hands. So I've just rinsed my hands. Now I'm going to put salt and pepper in the crock pot on top of the meat. A little flavor. Open up the bottle of barbecue sauce and just dump the whole thing on top of it. So it's, you know, I looked at the label ahead of time, everything's measured out. I'm expecting about 16 servings of meat, 14 servings of barbecue sauce in the bottle, so I'll just round it up and just say 16 servings. So I'll count everybody for 2 tablespoons worth of barbecue sauce in terms of calories. So that'll be 70 calories in barbecue sauce, and then there'll be whatever the pork comes to, which I'll look up on MyFitnessPal. And I'll put MyFitnessPal's calories for the meal down below. And then I'll serve it on, let me grab something. These are from last night, but I'll serve it on just hamburger buns. So hamburger bun, what is that? That comes out gross, I just got on the fat. 120 calories, now I gotta clean that up. So this is pretty much ready to go. That's it. Like I said, I would prefer if I had some carrots in the bottom, because then that could be served as a side dish as well. And that's meal number 1, ready. All right, so I'm gonna put the cover on it, plug it in, and I'm gonna set it on low for 10 hours. So it's 9 a.m. This should be done 7 o'clock tonight. All right, meal number 1, done. Next, sausage and peppers go in the oven. Okay, so first up, I'm going to start cutting the peppers and onions. All right, I have a paper plate here for garbage. Probably fast forward through a lot of this as when I go back to edit it. I have one pretty big onion here. Like if I just bought a 2-pound bag of onions, but I mean, I guess you could use like a Spanish onion or something nice and big. So I also took out a smaller onion. I'm not sure if I'm going to need both. I have 2 packages of sausages here. I'm not sure how you're going to read that. 1 package of mild and 1 package of hot sausage. Family likes the mild sweet sausage. Me personally, I like the hot sausage, so I do a mix of both. And if they don't like the hot, they got to suck it up. But if I put salt and pepper in a dish, my husband will say, "Oh, this is spicy. What'd you put in here?" And I'm like, salt and pepper. All right, so let me just slice this and just put it in the bottom of the pan, because I like the sausages to be at the top so that they brown in the oven. And I put this in the oven, like I said, in my oven, 375. Most people probably could get away with 350. Could put it in for an hour and it's done. But I like the sausage to get nice and dark brown crispy, so I end up putting it in for way more than an hour. I usually put it in for an hour, then I'll go back in like 20 minutes, check it, another 20 minutes, check it, until I feel like all of the sausage is nice and crispy. That's good. This is going to shrink up. When this is in the oven, then I will boil up a pound of farfalle, otherwise known as bow tie pasta, and then I'll mix that in the tray with the sausage and peppers. You could also forego that, maybe just serve it on like Italian bread, have a sandwich out of it. That's how my mother used to serve it. Oven's done. I'm gonna put the other onion in. But just to make it so that I can now, after it's done, it'll be mixed with the bow tie pasta. The juices from the sausage and the peppers and onions kind of make its own sauce. Maybe I'll sprinkle some Parmesan cheese over the top of it. I'll measure out like 1 cup servings, and then I'll put that into my meal prep containers. And for the meal prep containers, I just get like Rubbermaid containers, like a Target or Walmart, or you can get those black meal prep containers. You can get those on Amazon. You can get them right in the store at Walmart. Whatever you have. The whole key is measuring out your food so that you're having proper portion control when you're trying to lose weight. That's how I lost all my weight. Just portion control. I did not cut out any one food group. A little bit more. Alrighty then, I'm back. I just washed all of these peppers. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use 2 or 3 peppers. So I'll start with the red and the yellow. And maybe we'll go back to this one. I don't know, it's red and orange kind of. I don't know what color that is. Okay, the way I do it, I cut them in half. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but then I just kind of like rip out the guts, try to get all the seeds out. See, nice and clean on the inside. Make sure the seeds are off my cutting board. Rip out the guts again. Alright, once again, cut it into strips and then cut those in half. Now, normally I put Italian seasoning in this, salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning, but I don't have any Italian seasoning, so I just kind of whipped out every spice I have in my cabinet. I've got on the counter here, I've got parsley, I've got basil, salt and pepper, and I've got something called garlic and herb, which I get at Aldi's. I love Aldi's. I discovered Aldi's a few years ago. My husband had gotten laid off from work, so I was trying to cut back on expenses. So I discovered Aldi's after reading an article about it in the paper. It was new to our location. And whereas I normally would spend like $225 on my grocery bill, which included food plus like toiletries and cleaning products, I was spending maybe like $125, $150 tops, so it was saving me almost $100 a week. So my husband's back to work, but I'm gonna do one more pepper. I continue to go to Aldi's because I just love having my grocery bill come out, $100 cheaper than usual. So like all of this stuff that I'm having today, like the peppers are from Aldi's, the sausages here are from Aldi's, and you know what? They taste fine. They taste just like, say, the name brand Premio sausage, which I would get at my regular supermarket. Our supermarkets here are ShopRite, King Cullen, and Stop & Shop. Those are the big ones. We have Trader Joe's. We've got Costco and BJ's, which again, those kind of places all sell Premio sausage. This is absolutely fine. We've got a lot of Italian food stores around here, which you can get nice homemade Italian sausages at. Friends of ours in town have a business where they make Italian sausage and sell it to the supermarkets and the Italian food stores. If she sees this video, it's probably going to kill her to see me using these sausages, but what the heck. That's what I had. All right, so peppers are done. I'm not going to season this until I have the sausage in there too, so. And the sausages I'll show you, not quite bite-sized pieces, but we'll see. Let's get that cover on. I'm going to try to cut a couple of sausage at a time, just to save myself some time. So the way I'm going to do it is about that size. So this will shrink up, so you should be able to pop one in your mouth. And I do a couple of sausages at a time, like this. They get a little misshapen, but that's fine. So these are the mild sausage or the sweet sausage. Try to spread those around my pan. I don't know if you can see the pan in the shot. And I'll probably, before I put the seasoning on, I'll drizzle some extra virgin olive oil in here, just for a little flavor and just to make the seasoning stick. You don't really need the olive oil because there's so much fat and grease that comes out of the sausages, out of the pork. And I just realized I'm going to pork twice this week with the pulled pork plus the sausages. That probably wasn't a good move. Probably should, diet-wise, I probably should split that up. And so when this is in the oven, once it's done in an hour, then I'll start boiling up some pasta, and I usually use bow tie pasta, farfalle, and then I'll mix the pasta in with this. This looks full right now, but it'll shrink down once it's cooked. Okay, so it's been an hour for my sausage and peppers, so let's take a look and see how those are coming. Trying to get the brown ones to the bottom and get the grayish ones up on top so that they now get brown, because I like everything to have a nice brown crisp on it. Alright, so it's been an hour and it doesn't even look cooked. So I'm going another half an hour. Okay, so my next meal is going to be something I really never made before, but just something simple. I've got a little over 3 pounds of chicken here, chicken breast. I'll cut the fat off now. And I've bought from Aldi's, my favorite supermarket. I bought a bottle of sweet and sour sauce. So 3 pounds of meat, you figure 4 ounces to a person. So let's say that there's 4 times 3 is 12. So let's say that we've got 12 servings of meat. And this bottle says that it is 22 servings, that it has 22 servings per bottle. So just to make the math easy, let's say that it's got 24 servings for the bottle, and we're going with 12 servings here. So each person will get 2 servings of this and 1 serving of that. And I say that because when I go into MyFitnessPal, 1 serving of the sauce is 25 calories. So that means every person's getting 2. That means they're getting 50 calories. And then 1 serving of meat, I have to look up how much 1 ounce of chicken breast is. And so I'll count the calories for that. And then I'm gonna steam up some broccoli. I went with frozen broccoli to make it easy. I'll put that in the microwave, and broccoli I think is 30 calories for a cup of broccoli. And then I also have here, I'm gonna cook up some instant brown rice, and so that's gonna be half a cup serving is 180 calories per person. So I'll get all of this going. Very simple meal. I could have done this on a weeknight, but because it's Meal Prep Sunday, I'm getting it all done now because we are always running on the week, during the week, and then this way everybody can just throw what they want in the microwave and have a healthy home cooked meal that I can count calories for to stay on my weight loss journey. And as you all know, you've heard me say it before, it skews me cutting meat. So I end up cutting off a lot because it grosses me out. So like this is going, bye-bye. And I'll cut this into meal, bite-sized pieces. It's actually not too bad. Cut that off. What do we have here? It always skews me cutting with the fat and the blood. Ugh, gross. I could never be a chef. I could never be a butcher because it just skews me. But here I am telling you, oh, make this. It tastes really good, but this skews me. It's probably not the best thing I can say. And then I'll heat up my pan. So I'm gonna move that out of the way. So I'll cut in bite-sized pieces now for the chicken. This wasn't too bad. I really didn't take much off of this piece. All right, so little small pieces like this. I'm new at making these videos. It's like a hobby. I enjoy watching YouTube videos. That's how I lost a lot of my weight, was by watching other people's weight loss journey videos, and so they inspired me. So it's kind of like where I got the idea to do this. Plus, I love fiddling around with electronics. All right, I'm almost done cutting the meat. So while I'm finishing up cutting the meat, I'm gonna take those bags of broccoli and put them in the microwave so that those get cooked. First things first, I'm gonna get water into my pot. Start boiling up my rice. So I'm using instant brown rice. Okay, so we'll get that going. All right, that's good. Now I'll start heating my chicken. So let me heat my pan first. I'll put a little olive oil on the bottom of that. All right. This doesn't take rocket science. All we're doing is browning chicken, dumping a bottle of sweet and sour sauce on there, throwing in some vegetables and calling it a day. So, I mean, anybody can cook this. If you're watching and you're not much of a cook, I'm not much of a cook either, but I'm just trying to cook at home so that I can count my calories and I know what's in the food, so that I'm eating healthier than eating out when I'm running around with my kids. Is that hot yet? Not yet. And so I prefer to cook at home, so this way I can use the MyFitnessPal app and put my calories in there, know how much I'm eating. Certainly better than eating a Big Mac or chicken nuggets or whatever. And so when we get home at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, after picking up the kids from their sports and we don't feel like cooking, I have something already made. All right, so there we go. I think that's hot. I'm gonna dump the chicken in. This is what I cooked. I just cut up a few minutes ago. Just spread that out. I'll put some salt and pepper on that. Some salt, some pepper, and let that get brown. I already cooked my broccoli in the microwave, which was frozen broccoli florets. So these are done. That was cooked in the microwave. Let that go. So basically I've got 3 meals going on at once right now. I've got the chicken going on, I've got the sausage in the oven, and I've got the crock pot with the pork. So that's 3 meals. I will have something on Sunday. Whether I'll have something I just cooked as part of the meal prep, or maybe I'll make something else tonight for Sunday's dinner. But usually we get more than 1 meal out of these 3 that I'm making. And usually I go up to like Thursday with keeping anything in the refrigerator. So today's Sunday. Other than that, I would either freeze it, or sometimes, unfortunately, we have thrown stuff out on a Thursday that we didn't get to. But the 4 of us will have everything for dinner, and then my husband and I will usually take one of these dishes for lunch. So we really get, we make use out of pretty much all the food. I also found that since we're not eating out so much as we used to, it's saving me a lot of money too. So not going through as much spending money during the week. So that's a plus. So my water is boiling now for the rice. I'll put a little salt in there, and I already put a little bit of garlic and herb in there. to flavor the rice a little bit. So let's get the rice going. Give that a little stir. Let that come to a boil. Then I'll put the cover on it and then just let it simmer and boil, boil off the water. Okay, so as you can see, the meat's all nice and seared. It's got the brown crust or edges on it the way I like it. And this is pretty much it. I'm going to add in the broccoli and add in the sweet and sour sauce, and then that's done. I'm just waiting on the rice to get finished, and then once that's done, I'll be ready to put it into the meal prep containers. So I'm going to turn down the flame to about medium. I had cooked that on high. I'll put my broccoli in. I bought 2 bags of broccoli because I don't think one's enough. I don't think you get enough broccoli in one bag. That's not much, right? So, I've got 2 bags here. Okay, oops, all right. Mix that up a little bit, get the broccoli in with the meat. Now I'm literally just gonna pour the sweet and sour sauce over it. And I was just reading the label. Sweet and sour sauce only has 85 grams of sodium, so that's not even too bad for a jarred product. That's something else you have to worry about when you're using these jarred products. So I'm going to use the whole bottle because I've got 3 pounds of meat. So that's, you figure 4 ounces to a person, that would be 12 servings. This says it's 22 servings, like I said before. So let me just round that off, say 24. So 2 to this to 1 of that. So I'll count in MyFitnessPal 50 calories to this, and I'll figure out what 1 ounce of chicken breast is, times it by 4, and that'll be 1 serving. That's how I'll figure out the calories. So, does it get any easier than this? Maybe if you wanted to, you could throw some like chicken broth in there, a cup of it or so, or half cup, just to get this a little bit more moist, make more like a sauce, whereas this is not going to be like too much like a sauce, other than more like a coating. Get every last bit of it in there. That's done. All right, let me mix that. I'll put it on low. And then that's that. I'll just serve that over rice. Let's get my meal prep containers ready for the week. So I'm going to do half a cup of rice in each container and 1 cup of the chicken in each container. And this is a old Weight Watchers measuring spoon, so this is actually 1 cup. So I'll scoop out 1 cup and put it in the container. Then I have a half cup measuring cup, so I'll put the rice in with that. Okay, water's boiling. And pasta that I'm going to put with the sausage and peppers, put a little bit of salt in there. They say you should make it as salty as the sea, so that's why I did a lot of salt. I'll give that pasta a stir, and we'll cook that for 10 minutes. Pasta is cooked, and now I'm going to take the sausage and peppers out of the oven and put that and mix the pasta in with the sausage and peppers. Then I'll sprinkle on a little bit of Parmesan cheese and call it a day. As you can see, my sausage and peppers are done. Now I'm going to mix in the bowl tie pasta that I drained. Mix that together. It's sticking now. And just the fat and the water and the juices in the pan, that's kind of like what makes the sauce. It makes it nice and tasty. And then I'm just going to leave this in this tinfoil pan, cover it with aluminum foil, and just put it in the fridge. I'm not going to serve it into the individual serving containers. I have locatelli. Not sure how you can see that on the camera, but I'm just going to put this in here just for a little more flavor. Mix that in, and maybe I'll put a little bit more. Again, I didn't measure. That was probably a good 2 to 3 tablespoons that I just put on there. Trying to keep it to stay into the pan and not spill all over the place. So now I've been at this for about 3 hours between cooking the 3 dishes and just waiting for things to cook. The sausage and peppers I put in for a crazy long time just because my oven stinks. It does not cook quickly at all. So anybody with a normal oven, I'm sure this would be half the time to make the sausage and peppers. But I like to make it because it's in the oven, and that frees up the stovetop to cook something else, which is how I did the chicken. And then, keep it in the other dish in the crock pot. That's, 3 things I can get going at once. And so that's looking pretty good. So when I serve this, I'll count about 2 links of sausage for each person, about a cup of pasta in terms of when I count it in for calories in MyFitnessPal. And then I'll count like a tablespoon or so of cheese. I'm gonna put a little bit more on there. This dish is just about done. So I'm just about done for the day. I've been cleaning up as I'm going. I'm just gonna finish this off. I've been cleaning up as I'm going. Most of my pots and pans are washed. I have to clean down the stove now, wait for that to cool off. I've got to clean that off, clean down my countertop here, and then just leave the pork in the crock pot. I'll come back to that tonight. Okay, it's now after 7 o'clock at night and the pulled pork is done. So we're gonna take the cover off, minus the handle. Let's take a look. Ooh, look how nice that looks. So I'm gonna shred that, and then I'm gonna serve it. I have some brown rice left over from this morning. I'll serve some servings in the individual portion containers over the brown rice, and then I will just measure out about, I don't know, like about a half a cup to a cup for each person, and then everybody can make sandwiches out of that later in the week. I'm just gonna shred that meat. Oh, look at how nice and tender that is. Oh, I hate the dark meat. I just like the white meat. Very juicy. Have to strain that when I put it in the containers. Okay, so I have brown rice left over from the dishes that I made this morning. So I'm going to use these individual sized containers and measure about a half a cup, maybe a little bit more, into each of these containers, and then serve about a half a cup to a cup of pulled pork on top of that. I normally wouldn't put rice with pulled pork, but I don't want this to go to waste since I made it this morning, so that's what we're going to have this week. And then the rest of the pulled pork I'll put into a container, and then we'll have sandwiches with it. I'll use like hamburger rolls. All right, so let me get measuring. All right, so there's a half cup. And I bet you I'm going to need more than a half cup. Everybody's going to complain about a half cup. I'll do a little bit more than a half cup, maybe like 3/4 of a cup in each person's. Half cup's fine for me because I measure out all my calories, but for everybody else, they'll whine that it's not enough. All right, there you go. I've used just about all the rice that I had left over from this morning. Just put a tad more in each one of them. So for myself, when I measure out my calories, I'm going to measure out 3/4 of a cup and figure out what the calories are for that. All right, so none of that rice went to waste from this morning. All right, now as for the pulled pork, I shredded that already, right? So now I'm gonna just take, let's see how much a half cup is. What do you think? A little bit more? Half cup? Is that about? I should really like weigh this, but I don't feel like it's late. I don't feel like taking out my scale. I'll put like, I'm gonna put like 3/4 of a cup in each. I think that should be sufficient. I'm gonna assume that's about 4 ounces, if not a little bit more per person. It's gonna be weighted down with the sauce and everything. So that's a cup, that's a half cup. I'm using a half cup. I got half of that, so we'll say 3/4. All right, so that'll make one dish. And the rest I'll just put into a container and we'll heat it up during the week in the microwave and have some sandwiches. Well, folks, that's about it. That's the empty crock pot, and that's the rest of the pulled pork in a container. I'll put that in the fridge, and then I'll show you what everything looks like stacked up in the fridge, and we'll call it a night. So here's what the fridge looks like ready for the week. We've got the containers from this morning with the sweet and sour chicken. These are the containers of the pulled pork over rice. This is the tray of sausage and peppers from this morning. This is the rest of the pulled pork we'll heat up and have with sandwiches. That's leftovers from last night. That's just some leftover ground beef. And so now I'm almost set for the week. So that's it. We've started at about 8:30 this morning, got our first meal to the crock pot by about 9 a.m. Went on and cooked the sweet and sour chicken on the stove. I also put sausage and peppers in the oven. Those 3 meals will last me for the week. And you know, I can't tell you enough how much meal prep helped me to lose my 125 pounds. It's about being prepared, and you know, if you want it, you go for it. It's, you know, it's mind over matter. I can't express enough that I was eating out all the time, gaining a ton of weight, and so now that I've been cooking at home and eating at home, that's what's helped me to lose the weight and now to maintain the weight loss. So good luck in your weight loss journey. I know you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Best of luck to you. I hope to see less of you next time. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe.